Welcome back, guys. Today I have my buddies Dave and Tyson, and they'll be giving us some insights about the international student process. And thank you guys for joining me. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves? Tell us your name. Well, I guess I know your name, but tell us your year, major, and where you're from.
Sure, I'll get started. I'm Tyson, and I'm a fourth year aerospace engineering major, and I'm from Taiwan.
Hi, this is Dave. I'm pursuing my master's in business analytics as a graduate student. It's a 10-month program, so I won't be around for a long while. I'm from India.
Yeah, so first we'll start off with some general questions, right? Before you actually came to the US as a student, right? So when did you actually think about coming to the US to pursue higher studies?
It was about a couple of years ago, especially after COVID. I saw a lot of people that I know, they were pursuing their masters, and after they graduate there were some really nice offers. So I just saw that pattern, and it's the currency power of the US dollar, so it keeps increasing against the INR. So getting a job, and also once you graduate and work here for about 3 years and come back to India, you can have that experience from United States of America, which would be very valuable in your job search for a senior role. So that was the plan all along. And
Makes sense. I can definitely see the businessman in you. All right, how about you, Tyson?
Well, it wasn't all that surprising for me to come study in the U.S. Because I did go. Unfortunately, I did come from a relatively fortunate background. I went to international school in from where I'm from in Taiwan, and then growing up, my international school has like a more American oriented education, and so a lot of the graduates who come out my high school go study abroad, mostly in the U.S. And my older siblings, they also came here to study in the U.S. So yeah, I did consider coming here to study in the U.S. It was an expectation for a while, and the idea is to, of course, just like any other international student, gaining the studying abroad experience, work experience, and then eventually if I go back to Taiwan to work, having that work experience in the U.S., having that new perspective, cultural and work ethic, and just gaining a new perspective, working in a different place can give you an edge over other people who only stayed in your home country.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's great to hear. So now that you've sort of made your decision, take us back to the time when you were looking into resources and figuring out how things work, like maybe the visa process, or other kinds of resources that were very helpful, whether it be like from your school or maybe your siblings that helped you, or just other online resources, right? How was that process like?
A lot of YouTube podcasts helped me throughout. So first thing first, you need to start getting with that IELTS, which tests your English proficiency, and based on the result you obtain from it, you can see colleges which have a certain cutoff for that IELTS score. 6.5 or 7 band is pretty good band, and we'll get into most colleges with that. After that, I think you start writing your SOP, which is the statement of purpose. You obtain letter of recommendation from your previous colleges, and you draft them all and start applying to colleges. You also need to be selective of what you apply to, because the cost to apply is sometimes $50, $100 per application, so you need to be careful about that too. And I used a lot of Reddit, so certain college applications have a promo code where you can apply to colleges for free. So that's a nice, so you can apply to those colleges just for that. And once you obtain a few offers and probably a little bit of rejections, you can be much clearer about which universities you want to get into. And from that, you can shortlist, you can do a lot of research, a lot of YouTube, a lot of Reddit, a lot of Quora. So,
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of looking at the resources and what you can utilize to maximize and your chances of getting to universities in the U.S. Definitely speak to whatever resources you have in your current school, your college counselor if you have one. Definitely a lot of online resources, forums, discussions, and speaking to your teachers, your mentors who have experience with applying to abroad, and maybe even your peers, who are a few years above you. It's a good chance for you to connect with them, see their perspective, and let them give a more recent experience and advice to you.
and I also think that our experiences would be different because for me it's a graduate student, for him it's an undergraduate student, so the prerequisites might vary too.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, so one more thing sort of related to that is housing, right? I know, like, for me especially, even though I'm only a few hours away from SLO, searching for housing and the whole like nerves around that can get pretty nerve-wracking, right? So for you guys as international students, how was searching for housing? How was like getting all your amenities, furniture, etc., taken care of? Yeah, talk me through that.
Okay, so it was about, I would suggest to start looking for houses like 3 months before when you're going to join.
Oh really?
Yeah, at least
I would expect
3 months.
like more than that.
Okay.
Honestly.
I mean, you can, but some certain houses they don't start opening their vacancies until then. So until very recently, so you don't never know for fully.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
Might be able to get better deals. Also.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you're very particular about the cost, I think Merchant Advance is a very good option for that. So what an international welcome ambassador, I guess you'll be assigned to one of them. So try to talk to them. That's your first connection to a local here. So try to talk to them. Ask if there are any mutuals they know any openings around. They will redirect you to some websites where you can look for vacancies in houses. It's in SLO, I think it's like a jackpot deal if you have a house for like $700 or anything, because a lot of houses have like $1,000 rent, and that's insane. And yeah, Craigslist, Zillow, Apartments.com, you can go over there, filter by price, filter by number of people, and Facebook housing was also pretty useful. So you can gather people who are also similarly looking for houses around, and you can form a connection so that if you all plan to go into that house together, it will suppose for me personally, I'm living in a 2-bedroom house and 4 people are sharing it, so it cuts down the cost too. So I would also say like socialize as much as you can through Facebook and stuff. And one important thing is like there are a lot of scams regarding the housing things. People want to just benefit from it. So if anyone asks you to pay for something before even show you what the house is, it's a scam. It's a red flag. Don't even go to it. So unless they show it, until then don't pay a dime. That's what I would say to be aware of. And, yeah.
It's a very good tip. And so just one question: is the international student ambassador like a Cal Poly specific thing, or like as in provided by Cal Poly?
Yeah, so they have a international student community, so they offer those services. So they assign me to one of them. Right now I'm not in touch with her, unfortunately, but during that process she redirected me to WhatsApp groups where I can ask. But that wasn't very helpful, but maybe it can be helpful for others.
For sure. Yep. What about you, Tyson?
So yeah, I think David covered the housing search process pretty thoroughly. For me, I was as an undergraduate, the housing process started later for me because I was required to live on campus my first and second year as part of the College of Engineering. And as for finding housing, third and fourth year, besides the very good resources that Dave pointed out, I also utilized there's a official list of housing providers by the housing department and Cal Poly's website. So no matter if you go to Cal Poly or not, there should be some housing resources also officially listed on your school's website. Although they might not have the best of deals, at least that's somewhere to start looking at and to start discussing with other people. And as for the daily living situation, getting groceries, make sure you have transportation and having someone help you move in. Besides that student ambassador thing that David brought up, there are usually some international student organizations that are specifically that their purpose is to help out international students, such as the International Student Friendship Club in Cal Poly. One of the volunteers there helped me significantly when it comes to helping me move in to my new place, getting groceries, helping out on getting a driver's license and such. So yeah, you should look out for those organizations too. They can help you significantly, and also if you utilize them, of course, try to get back to the community as well. So that's why I had for housing.
Awesome. Yeah. So shameless plug here. I do have a video on finding off-campus housing, so make sure you check that out. But yeah, great tips, guys. So now let's sort of transition into life at Cal Poly now that you're here, right? So I guess first, tell us your first impression when coming to Cal Poly. I know coming from the Bay Area, a lot of people, including myself, say it's initially somewhat of a culture shock, coming to Central California from the Bay Area. So what was your guys' first impression of Cal Poly?
Yeah, so for someone living in California and experience cultural shock, you can expect what kind of cultural shock an Indian would expect.
Yes.
So that was entirely different. In the first day of when I came here, we visited the Pismo Beach and it was so beautiful. Everything just feels so, I don't know, it's something that I cannot explain, but in a very positive way. And a lot of people around are often friendly and are willing to help you if you ask them. So don't worry about what they might think. So you don't need to worry about that. And I would say that start to utilize the resources around you. So once you come into Cal Poly, there are a lot of plenty resources. For example, you need not spend a lot for food. You can get it from the Cal Poly pantry. And I don't know how this would sound, but you need not even buy notebooks because you have career fairs where you get free notebooks.
For sure.
Yeah. So
very resourceful.
Yeah, there are a lot of resources you can get for free. So you need to be selective of it. So until college starts, try to get things that are very necessary. And yeah, I think if you have a good friend circle when you move into a particular house or anything, that would ease your shoulders a lot, and that happened for me. I don't know what I can say for others, but yeah.
Cool. How's the experience for you, Tyson?
Yeah, like you and Dave said, for people who already lived in California and coming down to the Central Coast, experiencing a culture shock, you can expect a greater culture shock for international students. That was definitely the case for me. Cal Poly has recently been on a trend of becoming more and more ethnically, culturally diverse, but even so, it's still a pretty homogeneous there's distribution of demographics. My culture shock definitely being meeting so many white students at Cal Poly. something that I've been in the Bay before, and coming down here is definitely just getting used to, I guess, the cultural norms of the Central Coast. People here are definitely, I can say, culture shock in like a genuine positive way, because people here are so friendly and so willing to help and just have a very simple and selfless mindset here. And and when it comes to being on campus, just being acquainted with the local students here, the Californian students and the American students. I would say one of the common pitfalls for international students when they come to study abroad is to stick to their own group of other international students or even other students from their own country. And I would say I highly suggest to avoid that, because that really defeats the whole purpose of studying abroad. You should really try to meet as many American classmates as you can. Get along with them, because it's a very useful life skill, not just for the sake of meeting friends, but also just to get used to immerse yourself in the American cultural experience. So definitely try to meet as many people as you can when you come here.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear. I can definitely echo what you guys said about how friendly and helpful the people are here. So whether you're an international student or just coming, or you're within the United States itself, I think it's natural to be a little bit nervous when you first come, but especially at Cal Poly, the people are very helpful, so that's really nothing to worry about, and it shouldn't deter you from applying, per se. Okay, so one other thing that a prospective international student might be curious about is like academics and difficulty of classes, maybe compared to what you experienced in Taiwan and India. Can you talk about the classes and workload in college here as well?
I don't know, a lot of people often say that this program that I'm taking is very intensive, but for someone who has studied in India, it's not as intensive.
Okay. Yeah.
I would feel it's much lighter here, and especially if you know what you're going to study, at least on the surface level, it makes it really easy. But if you do not know, I think you might feel overwhelmed. So I would highly suggest you to go over at least the basics of what you're going to study, the program that you're pursuing, and so that is one thing I would say. The teachers are often very helpful and pretty lenient too. Like, if you just mail a professor what doubt you have, and they highly encourage you to ask a lot of doubts, they're willing to help you. And maybe the finals of my last quarter could have been easier, but yeah, it's pretty easy from my perspective. I'm not sure about an undergrad perspective. Perhaps Tyson will say that.
Well, both coming also from coming from an East Asian cultural background, academics is also very, highly emphasized, and my education in high school was also quite intense. Coming here as an undergrad, taking on average 16, 18 units a quarter, I would say it's still quite intense. But I feel like my studies in high school has prepared for me for this level of intensity. Just constantly grinding away. I would say that the difficulty kind of tapers off. Maybe like second or third year. But I would say, at least for engineering, it's definitely not something to underestimate. And I would say, when it comes to dealing with courses, definitely engage with your classmates, engage with your faculty a lot. I feel like, as someone who comes from like maybe more of an Asian education, engagement with your professor isn't as highly emphasized, or isn't something that is seen as, you know, very very some like a behavior that's very promoted,
Yeah, it's not as common.
not as common. You're kind of more expected to be like in like a crowd of students and not really interact with the professor. But here at Cal Poly, with the small class sizes, the
Yeah.
small
I was
students,
gonna say that.
yeah, the faculty to student ratio is one of the best things at Cal Poly. Is a public university, but you really get the faculty to student ratio of a more like a private university.
Mhm.
So that's one of the great advantages of Cal Poly. Yeah.
I would also like to add this ideology that they have, which is learn by doing. So they make you more industry ready. So perhaps at least for my program, it was not like something that you would want to get into if you are into research or anything. But if your main aim is to get into a job, so they just make you industry ready right from the beginning of the course.
For sure, yeah. And Tyson, you sort of touched on this, but I just want to ask more about the social life here, right? Especially maybe being away from your immediate family. How's adapting to that, and what did you sort of do to socialize with others, whether it be clubs or maybe classes, whatnot?
Yeah, I guess there are a lot of resources that you can access to socialize with people in general. There is Cal Poly now in the portal where you can log in and find clubs that would match your educational or cultural, something that you can connect to. It is one kind of opportunity, and another thing is you need to find, like as Tyson also said, that you need to get out of your comfort zone and try to interact with as many people as you can, people of different backgrounds. You just be waiting for a person for the bus, and you can just see a person and you can start talking. It's really that chill, and there are a lot of events where you can network with people. Such as the career services, they make you network with people. So you just introduce yourself one day, and the next day he becomes a familiar person to you. So that's one way. You have to just try to get out of the comfort zone and try to just talk to people. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. As an undergraduate student, there are opportunities that are automatically granted to you where you to socialize and make your own social circles. For me, it was definitely my housing group, the people that lived in my dorm. That's how I even met Nicole. Really, it was through one of the friends that lived in my building. So you can really expand your friend network through the friends that you make during orientation. When you come in to your first week here, the week of welcome, and also as well as the club fair at the beginning of each academic year. And as for transfer students, and as for graduate students who don't really get that opportunity to network in the dorms, of course, utilize club resources and just talk to people in your classes, see what kind of clubs they're involved in, and they can really refer you and get your foot into the door into the club, and whether it be related to your discipline or to your culture, like a cultural club or engineering club, for example. Yeah, those are the places I'll look at.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think those are my main questions. So thank you guys for taking the time. So if you're considering coming to the United States as an international student for studies, then hopefully this was very helpful for you. Especially if you're considering coming to Cal Poly, hopefully this is even more helpful. So thank you, Tyson and Dave, for all your insights. If this was helpful, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you very much.